Hello, listeners and viewers. You're listening to Maryann from Random Sage. This has been quite a long time coming, I know. I've been absent now for a few months as I dealt with some pretty serious health issues. I had been dealing with them for from about September 2023 up until I think May, June of this year. And I've got some new regimes in place. They seem to be paying off, which is good. And I did want to come back and say hello because, as many of you listeners know, Random Sage is very close to my heart. It's a place where we can actually have a dialogue and a conversation, and we can kick it up as well and look at things from a higher perspective, which is, sadly lacking in today's world. I want to acknowledge, first of all, that there are those out there that are really grieving and doing it tough, particularly in the US, where there's just been an election held and a man who has been found liable for rape and massive fraud as well, fined about $450 million. That's the evidence out there. The liability for rape was through a jury and a judge civic suit, but nevertheless, he was found liable for rape of E. Jean Carroll. Concurrently with that, this person went before a criminal court in New York and a jury of his peers, and again was found guilty in a criminal court of multiple cases of business fraud, tax fraud, and trying to do something that would interfere with an election and in falling foul of campaign finance laws. He was found guilty, pardon me, of that crime. His sentencing hasn't taken place yet because in the meantime, we had an election and the Supreme Court of the US found that he had immunity for official acts. Some of the evidence heard in that New York trial included an advisor of his testifying before the court, an advisor who was in the White House at the time of a certain event. And so many would be thinking that this person has been let off scot-free. His other cases for January the 6th insurrection, theft of classified documents, he shouldn't have had those when he had them. He obstructed justice. Justice. You all know the charges. That person who has been caught on audio saying some dreadful things against women, what he does to force himself onto women, it comes out of his mouth. And so there's no destroying that evidence. It's out there in the domain. The voters had access to it, yet they still voted him in. Many of you say, "Oh, but there's been election interference." Well, there was. Russia. Russia ran multi-million-dollar disinformation campaigns and, in their own words, helped him get elected. Now they want their reward for that. They ran bomb threats in swing states. There was Russian interference in the election. Anyone who says that there wasn't is a fool, because we've all got eyes to see and ears to hear. As for any other nefarious interference, that's yet to be determined. The Democratic lawyer says it was a fair election. The Biden's government says that there was no anomalies to speak of, yet we're still hearing evidence coming out. So let's just watch this space without diving into conspiracy theories and pinning our hopes on something that may not come to pass. Separately to that, we have terrible carnage in the Middle East as Netanyahu again continues to starve and ethnically cleanse Gaza, killing tens and tens of thousands. They think, with those buried under the rubble, around 80,000 innocent women and children. Hostages are still being held if they're still alive. It's a mess over in the Middle East. Meanwhile, an attack on Lebanon has not gone so well for Israel. Hezbollah has been surprisingly strong in its pushback, and the IDF have had to retreat out of Lebanon. Meanwhile, Hezbollah is still bombing Israel. And Israel is then, of course, courting danger with Iran. Iran has a defense pact with Russia. In fact, Russian boots and military equipment are currently on the ground in Iran. China has pledged to support Iran if there's an attack. So we have that. Will the US 45 has pledged to support Israel? Will the US and its allies be drawn into a war in the Middle East that we shouldn't be waging, that we don't believe in? Or, will, calmer waters be a result? We have countless wars in Sudan and the African nations. We have the Ukraine-Russia war, which is also very, very concerning to all. And will Putin wants an end to that war? His own central bank head CEO said to him that the war with Ukraine is hurting the Russian economy. And Russia has also said that it won't be supplying gas to Europe this winter. Things are pretty dire in that part of the world. What will Russia do in response to President Biden saying that Ukraine can fire America's long-range missiles into the heart of Russia? How will Putin respond? And so we are all weighed down with the weight of what is going on in the world at this moment. I want to go to the election shock for women. Women were a particular target of this election. It was distressing for all of us to see, as not only did the 45, the ex-president, former president, hasn't been installed yet. Not only did he divide people along race and every other type of line, he also, in this election, particularly went after women. And why did he do that? Because he realized there was going to be a blowback for Roe v. Wade. What happened? Over 50% of white women voted for 45. Men, their partners, and also partners of other women also voted for 45 against the interests of their women partners. And so when I looked at the astrology today, what I saw was a definite battle line between women who are devastated and shocked by this election, and their relationships and loved ones. And so there are movements forming like the 4B movement, where younger women say, well, I don't want to be pregnant in a world that if something goes wrong, I could die. I don't like it that you said this didn't matter to you, so you voted someone in who had caused this. So now it's over. Marriages are blowing up, ending. Women are saying to their partners, if I can be brutally honest, no sex, that's it. And with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, families have said, if you voted for this person, I don't want you at my Christmas table. There is a lot of emotion and grief and anger and outrage that is going on in the US at the moment. What I also see in the astrology at this time is the potential for a great awakening. It's very critical from here on in that what we do now matters, and it matters for your future, my future, the future of our children and grandchildren. We can't bury our head in the sand. We can't indulge perpetually the grief and the devastation. It has to be turned into productive, action, productive and right action. And our willpower has to be at the basis of that. The right use of our willpower has to move us forward. What sort of a world do we want to live in? Well, it's up to us, and we have the chance to create that. It is exactly the opposite that we have been barred from creating a future. It's exactly the opposite. What I see in the astrology is a chance for a new beginning, but you've got to work for it. And to that end, we have resistance springing up everywhere across the board. When I have looked into this clairvoyantly in the past, I've seen very clearly images of the French Revolution. There is a revolution coming here. Pluto is now moving forward, has been since let me see, November, is it November the 15th? And we'll move into Aquarius on November the 19th. This is revolutionary energy. We thought that we would have our first woman elected in the US. We thought that these wars would be sorted out. We thought that Pluto in Aquarius would be a golden age. It will be eventually. It's there for the next 20 years. But right now, we've got to finish with Pluto in Capricornian energy, the old energy, the archaic energy. The greed is good energy. The individual interests put above the interests of others. That's done. We are forming into collectives, groups, networks, and we are pushing forward with the right use of will and the right actions to be taken. It's okay for people to grieve if they want to now. But when you're ready, come back and join the fight, because there's plenty to fight for. I call it a great awakening through adversity. Change is upon us, challenge is upon us. But it is a great awakening that I am feeling, sensing, and seeing. And it's there in the astrology, and it's there in any divination that I cast. I want to pull some cards here from the Shaman's Dream Oracle, along the lines of what is this great awakening? Can you show us, please, this great awakening? Can you show us what it is? So a snail's pace picks up. We move from a snail's pace to an era of great journeys and travels and discoveries, and the pace of this change is going to be incredible. Show me this great awakening. Don't assume that you are on the losing side, is what I want you to say to you. We have the Chariot. Things will move very quickly, but the pace is quick and stealth-like. There is great change under the surface that is occurring now. And I see that we are moving to calmer shores eventually. So we have here the fallen angel, spiritual narcolepsy, and this speaks to the Shaman's Dream Oracle, by the way, is by Alberto Villoldo and Colette Baron Reed. Spiritual narcolepsy, for those who are listening, is depicting a falling angel from the skies. It's around when people lose their faith. They have no faith or hope to go on with. And so there's a narcolepsy that is infecting or present within us at this time. I cannot go on. I am too tired. I have no fight left in me. But we have lost compass coming through as well, getting back to integrity. So while we can be in this catatonic state almost, we do know that we need our compass to charter our way forward, and we understand that resisting by not joining, resisting the resistance is not the right way to go. Getting back to integrity. Magician's sword, confidence in your magic. Thank you, Spirit. It's about pursuing our higher knowledge and tapping into those intuitive insights that we're all getting, and being confident that what you're doing is the right thing. And what is the Magician's sword on this particular card for those that are listening? It displays the sword of truth, the Ace of Swords. So when we come out of this narcolepsy, there is a clarity of vision that we will all have. It's almost like a light bulb will go on within people. It's almost like a light bulb has gone on, has come on within many. And it's about, we need to find our compass. We need to have our compass. We need to chart our way forward. The next card is the benefactor, grace and generosity. Giving to others, helping others is what it's all about. It's what it has always been about. Let's not forget that when we leave this current lifetime, we are judged on our service to others. Galactic mushroom, the divine matrix. This is a fated time. It is a time, as I said, of change and bringing and creating something new. The divine matrix. Sky bridge, possibility for union. I feel what I'm getting here, and I have felt this intuitively, that this could be an era where we have contact, or we feel or we sense the presence of other planetary civilizations. And I know people are thinking that's a far out thing to say. However, I feel that we have been watched, and we have been learnt from. And I feel that there are those on this planet who are already in touch psychically with other civilizations, more advanced civilizations. We could be making contact with those civilizations in the coming 20 years. Moon Maiden and new beginnings. And so for all the women out there that are devastated, understand this. The power of the moon is no small thing. The moon controls our tides, the ebb and the flow of the ocean. The moon controls or is associated with our emotions. It allows us to do those deep dives into our emotional beings, our subconscious. And in the subconscious, in that watery reservoir of the subconscious, that's where we find the will, the right use of will, the willpower, the motivation to resurface and regain that compass forward. And lost in space and needing direction, please don't be so hard with yourself or on yourself. Understand this is a period of the gathering. It's a period of the great awakening, and you can sleep for the minute, for a minute, but not for long. We feel like we're lost in space. We're drifting and experiencing life as it comes. But we are moving out of stagnation, the dust devil, and we will hit the walls, the obstacles. There are many obstacles in front of us, but we have crown games, the right use of power. It is incumbent upon us all, no matter what aspect of life that we're dealing with, to use our power wisely and well. Understand that Pluto in Aquarius empowers us all. It empowers the people. Power to the people. How are you going to use your power? Thank you for tuning in. This is Maryann from Random Sage, and I'll be back whenever I can. Random Sage is still in my heart. It's still in my conscious and subconscious. I will be here hopefully every 2 to 3 weeks, but I will be broadcasting and continue to broadcast from the Random Sage desk. All right. Thanks for tuning in again. Bye for now, everyone.